In today's video, we're going to be going over some of the strongest performing cheap fragrances that you can buy right now. We'll go ahead and identify a couple things here. First one being what is cheap. We're basically looking at everything $45 or less. Some of these will be right on that line. Others will be considerably less than $45. It just depends. The other thing is going to be what constitutes good performance. And that's going to be subjective. I'll tell you that my guidelines for a video like this focusing on cheaper fragrances is if they can hit, 9 hours consistently, just kind of as an average number in terms of longevity, then they would be fit for a video like this. As I mentioned, that's going to vary from person to person, sometimes drastically, and also it could also depend on unforeseen changes that are outside of everybody's control, such as reformulations and different variations and stuff and so on. Just kind of use this as a guideline, and I would say that most people, at least looking at what I can see online, most people also tend to get really good performance out of these as well, and I know I do. We're gonna get things kicked off with Lacoste Match Point. This is the Eau de Parfum version. This is a fantastic smelling scent, along with the original one, to be fair. I just would say that the Eau de Parfum does perform better. You would kind of expect it to, and it does. Now, this is basically all about this nice, soft musk with a lot of this green type of accord as well. Now, when you look at these, obviously, you can see kind of what they're inspired by here. Just the tennis theme, everything from, the bottle presentation here. You can see the texture on the cap a little bit there. And of course, the coloration of this Eau de Parfum, darker gradient, but even the original Eau de Toilette, a little bit of that light green theme going on as well. And so green is the name of the game here with these. They're free, they're fresh, they're clean, they're musky. Has a little bit of this grapefruit pop off the open, and then even just a little bit of a slight bit of a pink pepper accord in here as well. At least that's what I get. So it does give you just a little bit of a slight spicy kick, ever so slight off the opening, and then it kind of transitions into this smooth, kind of citrusy, musky, clean, slightly soapy smell. I would say that Lacoste is really good at making super inoffensive, affordable fragrances, and not just within this lineup. I'm talking just in general across the entire brand. When you look at what they release, I mean, pretty much everything is just super easy going, very wearable, mass pleasing, all of that good stuff, and no exception here. Obviously, coming into Eau de Parfum concentration, it's always been a good performer on my skin. This is the type of thing where you wouldn't really expect it to, because it is kind of lighter in nature. It's a softer scent in terms of just how it's delivered, in terms of how it smells, right? It's not super peppery or super harsh or super sweet or anything to any sort of extreme. There's no extremes about this one, but yet it still does have really good performance, coming in at a really decent price as well. Now, this next one here is Dumont Nitro Elixir. This is currently the newest one within the lineup, and it's really, really good. I guess kind of inspired by the YSL Myself lineup, Myself Absolute, maybe a little bit of Myself Le Parfum, kind of basically falling into that category here is kind of where this one lands, and even still does carry over just a little bit of that nitro red intensely type of smell. This one has orange blossom, tonka bean, ambergris, so you're kind of seeing what direction this one is going just by looking at the note breakdown, and it's even more apparent when you actually smell this one. You're essentially getting a little bit of that common blue fragrance type of smell, specifically from the type of ambergris that they're using here. A little bit of a sweetness, kind of also following the current trends that we're going through right now, and then still a little bit of a bright, fresh pop as well, kind of combining several different categories into one, which is a very common thing. This one is also an straight concentration too, which, for something at this price point, which is about $40 to $45, is kind of unheard of. I mean, it's more common with these clone brands, I guess. They're kind of bumping up the concentration and keeping the prices still very reasonable, but you're not gonna get like an straight concentration from a cheap designer fragrance. It really is just very, very uncommon. So that is one bonus about these clone brands. And I already mentioned the price. You can actually take an additional 10% off with code CHAOS10 if you shop at theperfumebox.com. I'll link it down below. Again, CHAOS10, that works site-wide as well. So you can save some extra money there, even if it's just a couple bucks if you're just buying this. That's better than nothing. This next one is Mont Blanc Legend. It's the Eau de Parfum. I really like this, actually, you know, and it kind of seems like a somewhat boring choice, and maybe it is. I guess, you know, it could be, because I think most people are probably tired of the original Legend. I kind of am too. However, I will say that this Eau de Parfum is a big improvement and kind of, I guess, an unexpected improvement, whereas I wasn't thinking that it was going to be this much better. It you know, truly is a lot stronger, and it still maintains that Legend smell that we know about. It's just that kind of musky oak moss cologne type of smell, and everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say that. You know, when you refer to something, or at least when I refer to something as smelling like a cologne, that kind of gives it that more generic label. And again, if you smelled Abercrombie and Fitch Fierce, you're going to know all about this DNA, right? But this one here, it does give it a little bit more of a performance upgrade versus the original, which probably has gotten a bit weaker over the years, and not to mention actually makes the scent a little bit more interesting too. It's not necessarily sweeter, because there's really no sweetness about this one, but it does have a little bit more of like a woodiness, just, you know, and obviously the original is already woody, but there's a little bit more going on compared to the original Legend, which I felt was overall probably a bit more fresh, and also kind of would fall flat a little bit quicker. And it's pretty apparent when you do smell this one, and especially if you set it up against the original Legend. Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference here, and it's notable off the opening too. So you can make a pretty quick judgment call on this one that, you know, you are getting some key differences out of this Eau de Parfum. Not to mention a great performer here as well, as you would expect. Usually coming in at around that 9-hour longevity mark, and price point on this one is very reasonable as well. Typically in the $40 range, as you would expect from most Legend flankers. This next one is Lalique Encre Noire. This is just the original Eau de Toilette. You could go for the sport, and you could definitely go for the extreme. Really, all three are very, very strong and all very affordable. This is going to be one of the cheapest in this video. Usually, I think on average of $20 to $25, so very, very affordable. And of course, that's discounters. I should have mentioned that earlier, but everybody knows this anyway. We are shopping at discounters to come up with these prices, not retail. So the fact that you can get something that smells like this for $20 to $25 is kind of insane, because it is so unique, and this is what people want, or at least the people who say we want something different from designer brands. This is it. And it's been out forever, but I would say, hey, buy this, you know, support this type of thing here, because, well, we don't get stuff like this often. This is really all about the vetiver, a very strong, earthy, woody, kind of dry vetiver, not so much the soapy variant like a Tom Ford Grey vetiver or Roja vetiver, to name just a couple off the top of my head. Again, it's a drier, earthier vetiver, like smoky vetiver. This stuff is very strong, and they're also using like cypress and some other woods to go along with it, but still it is vetiver centric. And I'll also say that this probably isn't going to be everybody's favorite. You know, this is different. It might not be what you would expect, and this is a trap that people fall into, where they see that it's $20, $25 and they just buy it because they assume, hey, it's cheap, I'm probably going to like it, you know? Some people think that way. And then they get into it and it's like, wait a minute, this is not really what I would expect a cheap fragrance to smell like. It's very different. So I would caution you to at least think it through and look at what you already have. And if you don't have any earthy vetiver scents and you're not sure, maybe think about it. Trying to sample this first by buying a sample online or trying it in store. I don't know, for the price that this goes for, maybe that's a waste of time too, but just think it through. I think if you like something that is very strong, very woody, earthy, and more traditionally masculine, something that's bold and makes a statement, Lalique Encre Noire is going to be the one for you. And at this price point, like I mentioned, it's so hard to beat. That performance is amazing, as you would expect. out of something with that much of a woody, dry. And we're kind of actually sticking with that trend a little bit here, going from one woody scent to more of a spicy woody scent. Some vetiver, but not quite as much of a focus. It's Dunhill Icon Elite. So I've already covered this before, this topic of Dunhill Icon fragrances, and Dunhill in general are going to be no longer. They did not renew the license, and so they cannot use the Dunhill name to keep producing these fragrances. There's a whole article on it and everything like that. So basically it's whatever is out there in stock right now is it. They're not making any more. And a couple have gone out of stock already, like the original Icon, unfortunately, is the one that's getting pretty hard to get, which is kind of my favorite. But this one and Absolute and a couple others, Racing and stuff, are still pretty readily available. This one is $40 right now on clearance. This one has cardamom, black pepper, and vetiver, like I mentioned. Now the vetiver in this one here is not quite as extreme as we were talking about with the Lalique. Not to mention you get some ebony wood, I believe some cedar wood, maybe some sandalwood as well to go along with it. Very woody focused here with the cardamom, which is giving it kind of a little bit of a warm, peppery sweetness to some extent, and spiciness, of course, which I'm a big fan of. Yet another one that is just so unique for the money. I mean, this is not something that you would expect to get for $40. And I know, retail price is a different story on these and so on and so forth, but even still, when they get discounted to this price point, more of an entry-level price point, some people might buy this and not like it. So keep that in mind. This is a little bit unique as well, but I'm telling you, if you want something that's a very strong performer, unique, yet another bold statement maker, Dunhill Icon Elite is a fantastic. Bentley for Men's Silver Lake kind of has, I don't know, a little bit of that Acqua di Gio Profondo type of smell, which is interesting. Now this one has lemon, violet leaf, mint, and musk. When you look at the note breakdown, it doesn't remind you of Profondo at all. I mean, just completely different, kind of random, but when you smell this one, you do get a little bit of that ozonic type of aquatic smell, even just the slightest bit of that mineral type of smell that you get from Profondo. So that's cool. It's a really good performer as well, and this is the safest pick from the lineup. I was going to put in Bentley for Men Intense or Absolute or something along those lines, but I've already put in a few little bit more daring scents in this video, so I went ahead and tossed this one in instead. This is going to be very wearable, fresh, bright, easygoing, of course, great performance, affordable price like you would expect from the entire Bentley for Men lineup, usually anywhere from, depending on where you're shopping, $25 to $40 in that range somewhere. Now, really, really nice scent that is a big people pleaser. This DNA works very well. Last up for this video, we have Jean Lowe Immortal by Maison Alhambra. Talked about this one several times as well, and actually was pretty popular for a while. Louis Vuitton Limoncite clone here for 20 bucks. This one has ginger, grapefruit, ambroxan, just to name a couple of the notes. Magnetic cap too, which is really cool for $20. Nice little detail. Smells so, so good. One of my favorites from Louis Vuitton. This, Imagination, probably, I don't know, Pacific Chill, man. They're all really good. And this gets you so, so close that it's crazy. It's just a really nice, classy smelling ginger-based scent with citrus alongside. And really, it's something that just smells so premium, so expensive. You take a look at how many citrus fragrances are out there, so many. Sometimes they can start to smell similar, but also the main thing is, man, they smell kind of, casual. They smell very kind of youthful leaning a lot of the times. Whereas something like this has a much more mature, sophisticated, and refined smell to where you could wear it in situations where you're dressed up and are a little bit more formal. That's what I love about the smell of this. And even though it's only about $20, it has great performance as well. Can't stop smelling this stuff, man. It smells so good. If it was going to be warmer today, I'd probably wear it. Jean Lowe Immortal, Maison Alhambra, great performer. Great quality too for the price. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. Some of the strongest performing cheap fragrances that you can buy here in 2025. Again, links will be down below to everything. Perfume box code CHAOS10. If you're shopping over at Vinba Fragrance and you spend $500 or more, you can use code CHAOS5, save 5% there. I got some other codes and stuff down below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.